All right, ready?
Okay, yes.
Let's go.
Okay. Hi, this is Jin from Jinny, and this is Lauren Bouquet from Labucq Footwear. We just concluded a fun 2-day trunk show with her brand, and we thought it would be cool to break down the brand a little bit more and discover a little bit more about Lauren and her shoe brand.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, we had a few questions. Okay. First question was that I had, what was your core motivation when you started the brand?
So starting a brand is something I'd wanted to do forever. I was like one of those kids that was sewing my own prom dress and making clothes, and I wanted to be a fashion designer. And part of, I think, that fantasy for a lot of kids that grow up with that idea in their head is that you're going to have your own brand one day. But of course, I knew that I needed to work and cut my teeth in fashion. So I got a job and I worked for 10 years in New York. And so it was just almost an inevitable next step. I was like, after I leave this company that I've been with for a really long time, I'm going to start my own brand. Footwear was something that I didn't anticipate doing as somebody who started in fashion, but it kind of fell into my lap as a skill and something that I really loved. And so I became a footwear designer while working, and then I kind of knew this is my place. I love shoes. I love making shoes and seeing them come together. And so when I started my brand, I was like, I'm definitely doing a shoe brand. And yeah, it was I was at this point in my life where I had left my job of 10 years. I had just had my son, and I wanted a fresh start. So we actually left New York. I moved to Los Angeles. It had all these big life changes, and I was like, okay, I'm now's the time. I'm going to do it. I have, a little bit more freedom now than I used to, and I just kind of took a leap of faith and made some samples and put them online and try to figure it out.
And that was in 2018?
Yeah,
okay.
That was in 2018.
And okay, another question I have is, do you still have shoes from your childhood or shoes that inspired you to keep on the path of wanting to become a footwear designer?
Well, there's a few shoes that I remember that are kind of iconic as part of my childhood. I definitely remember the first time I got a pair of Doc Martens. I was in 5th grade going into 6th grade, and I remember thinking when I go to middle school, I need to have this look. And it was Doc Martens, cut off shorts, a plaid shirt tied around my waist, and a vintage tee or something. But I felt like the shoes were what really made that look.
Yeah.
And that's a core memory for me growing up. I also, even younger, I remember shoes I had these Keds that were like a baseball. They were white with this red whip stitching around it.
How cool, yeah.
And I loved those shoes. And then I had this full circle moment as a young person, a young shoe designer in New York. I met the woman who designed those shoes
wow.
in the 80s. She was actually my friend's mom.
Oh my gosh.
And it was when I met her, I was I couldn't believe that, she was the person that designed these shoes that were so iconic from my childhood. But yeah, there's definitely a few styles like that I will carry with me.
I remember Keds. I remember as a kid, I was trying so hard to keep the white ones so clean.
Yeah.
I wanted them to look so fresh, walking around campus at school.
Hard to do.
Really hard to do, especially as a kid.
Yeah.
Okay, my next question is, what most excites you about footwear design?
I think I've always been a real sort of DIY crafter. And what I love about shoes more than clothes or other parts of fashion is that they're really kind of sculptural. And when I'm designing shoes, I do a lot of it by hand. I make mock-ups on either an existing shoe that I have. I'm cutting it up and placing straps on top, or I'm drawing on top of the shoe, but it's a really physical process, the actual designing of it for me, and I love that part of it. And then, yeah, I mean, I think the other thing that I love about shoes is that it's a really, shoes are you're standing on them, you're actually like putting pressure on them. There's so much sort of like responsibility in making a good pair of shoes. Like somebody's like their whole like comfort mindset starts from the ground up. And so that is like a really big challenge in footwear that's kind of like fun to work around. And I've learned so much about all the different components that go into a pair of shoes just from like being at factories and seeing all the different pieces that go into it. So that's always like a good constant challenge that keeps me interested and curious.
That's really refreshing to hear from you, because most of the time we're out there in the market, or if I'm going to market looking for a footwear brand or feel compelled by a footwear brand, no one really talks about how someone would stand in a shoe, or necessarily even from the standpoint of comfort, unless it's a comfort brand specifically.
Yeah.
Because so many of us are walking around in shoes that might not be comfortable, but might have the look that we want for the moment.
Yep.
Or they might be some it shoe that just speaks to us emotionally, but doesn't really work physically.
Yeah.
And even though I feel like nowadays we're done with like, okay, we don't have to wear heels every day. We don't have to have this kind of silhouette. Even if they're still really fun to see and experience, most of us are out there in flats.
Yeah.
Or in sneakers, or in something that has like a more even sole. And as being in the store and working with women over the last few years, or maybe more than a few years, many years,
many years,
many years, it has definitely resonated that when you have a shoe that you feel really good in, you stand better, you stand taller,
yeah,
and you're more confident
confidence
because you're not worried about like, are my feet aching?
Yeah. Is
my heel, not feeling good at this? Is this shoe too tight?
Yeah.
So that's really refreshing to hear, and it may sound really cheesy, but I mean, comfort is so important.
Yeah, it is. It's funny. Like when I first started the brand, I thought a lot less about comfort, and I think that just came from sort of my upbringing in the fashion industry and design, and making products that were more fashion focused. Like the idea of the brand was to have the trend items and all the pieces that you need in your wardrobe or whatever. And obviously, I still want that, but having my own brand and being able to get to know my customers and selling directly to them, similarly to how you speak to women in your store, the idea of like them like wanting to wear the shoe because not only it looks great but it also feels great is just like so much more paramount to me now. And I just want them to be like more and more comfortable every time I make a new collection. Like that's become my priority.
Yeah. Well, as a value system for me in the store with my clients too, what's important to me is that we're purposeful in what we buy, and it's okay to buy less, but to buy what more feels good, what can also be emotional and be a draw, but that's realistic and versatile. Yeah. And really stands on something more than just like a transient idea.
Yeah.
So in footwear, I feel like that would be something that is so important.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Well, awesome. So in terms of footwear design and shoes, is there a dream shoe that either you wish you could design, that you've seen some sort of inspiration out there that really just stays in your mind? Or has stayed in your mind?
Yeah. Well, there's one brand that I always just like admire from afar. I mean, not from afar. I actually own a couple pieces, but I love Dries Van Noten shoes. I feel like it's one of the only brands still today that is just, they're, at least I'm speaking from a footwear point of view, but like they're on their own plane. They're designing shoes that are completely following their own inspiration, that are not necessarily like trend led. I feel like it's they have a way of like pushing embellishment and a playfulness with pattern and texture and material that's delightful. Like it's like delightful is the best word I can use to describe it, because when I see sometimes like the shoes in a store or a shop and it's just like this beautiful design object, that I admire that, especially because, you know, I am designing a quite practical brand. I'm not necessarily going whimsy or whimsical with my designs, but I still love and appreciate the sort of playfulness that I see in that brand. I do have like a couple pairs of shoes that like I will wear to a wedding every now and then, with like, you know, just like a swirling upper pattern with like, you know, some like crystal embellishment. And I still like love that kind of like really fun product. It's not an everyday shoe. It's very special. But as like a sort of standalone product, like they have a lot of different silhouettes that I think are really cool. And
yeah, totally. And it lets you like dream a little bit too, and think like, you know, I want to go to there.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I want to live in that universe. Exactly.
Yeah, like I'm trying to like I try to like come up with like scenarios where I might be able to wear something like that. But yeah, I love the playfulness. That sometimes I need to remind myself to have a little bit more fun in my own designs.
I think we've all been
reminder.
there too. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Well, what's next for the brand? Can you share a little bit about upcoming developments?
Yeah. So I'm working on fall right now. We're like in the process of launching fall, and I've got some really fun, great new boots. I mean, I love boots, and I kind of founded the brand on boots. So we've always having new shoe silhouettes come in, but I'm also working on some new products. I'm working on a handbag for the first time, which is a really sort of fun exercise for me to kind of get out of the shoe mindset, still working in leather and sort of my core competencies of like how to, you know, mold leather and make it kind of fun and beautiful, but in a handbag. So that's been fun for me. And yeah, I think just like slowly expanding on what the brand can be and pushing and seeing how our audience responds and it's going to be kind of fun for me over the next year because we want to grow the brand beyond just shoes eventually. So seeing how I can build out this Labucq lifestyle.
Awesome. Well, something we so appreciate about your footwear and have actually made us become really big fans is just the comfort level of the footwear that we spoke about earlier. But yet this came out today too with clients, is that something that's notable to me is that not only is the comfort there, but the shoe is also designed and it's a stylish product. So it's not just existing in a comfort space, that it can also be an exciting item and an exciting shoe to wear, and something that can be, that can travel across different scenarios, different occasions. It can be casual, they can be dressy, and we saw different people over the last 2 days that we're going to apply them in different ways. And so that's exciting to see, and that's something that speaks to me as a shop owner and speaks to my clients coming through Jinny, because one of the cornerstones of my business is versatility and longevity, and I feel like your footwear actually can answer the call on those fronts.
Yeah,
so
that's definitely something I think about a lot. Like with the Boomer sandal, which a lot of people tried on this weekend, and it was kind of one of your clients asked me where the name came from, and that also, like, just in telling the story of the name, I also started, talking about the idea of the design came from wanting this hybrid of something that's casual and also put together, and you can wear it in all these different scenarios. Like, it's something you can wear after your yoga class, but you can also put it on with a dress and go out to dinner and feel just as kind of cool and relaxed, but still looking nice and contemporary. And so that, I'm always thinking about like how I can have this kind of style that goes, whether it's a boot or a sandal or a loafer, you know, it should be something that can be worn in multiple different ways.
Yeah. Truly. And that to me speaks to like a real living wardrobe too. So it's not, doesn't have to be seasonal. It can just be your complete foundational wardrobe. And that's really important to us and to me as a value system for the store as well, is that it does work hard to be, for lack of a better word, a workhorse item.
Yeah. Well, when you're investing in you know, certain pieces, you want it to be something that's going to work for you.
Totally. And more than once.
Yes.
Yeah. You want to prove it over and over and over again. I'm currently wearing the Boomer tan sandals. I'm probably going to wear these every day for the next 7 days just to keep proving that these are excellent and work in every iteration that I find myself in life.
That's amazing. I
love it. Okay, so to come out of the footwear space a little bit, when you're not thinking about footwear and you're not thinking about designing, if there are moments in that way, of that nature, what do you like to do?
I play tennis. I'm literally obsessed with tennis. Are you?
Did this derive from childhood, or was this something more recent?
No, this is an adult hobby that I picked up.
Okay, it's cool.
I started playing 4 years ago. Yeah. When I moved to Las Vegas and didn't really have many friends, and it's like the best thing I've ever done. It's like therapy for me out there.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's one of the few things I can do where I just forget about everything and I'm like in it, you know, focusing on playing tennis while I'm there, and I have great friends that I play with, and so it's social, it's super fun.
I love it.
Yeah, that's been like my main thing, if I'm being totally honest. I do have other hobbies, like occasionally I sew and make things, and I hang out with my kids, but...
So you're working out your like stress with like a mean serve or something.
Oh yeah, totally. Like I got my overhead. It's the best.
That's rad. Well, we've really enjoyed having you here the last couple of days. It's been really fun to experience your footwear and the brand.
It's been so fun for me.
And we're excited to continue to show off the brand over the next few days. So if you weren't able to make it the last couple of days during the trunk show with Lauren here, unfortunately she's going home, but we will have the footwear for the next week, and so come see next week. Come discover the shoes next week. I'm more than happy to have everyone come and try them on. They're incredible. They're comfortable. You can live in them, and I've been excited about the brand since I discovered them last year. So I hope that you join me in that enthusiasm.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This was so fun.
Thank you.